Welcome to 2 Cents episode 66. It's October 2nd, 2016, or the year 5777 if you're a Jew like myself, the Shana Tova. Hope you have a merry and sweet new year. There's only 11 days left until the PlayStation VR, PSVR launch is going on. And just to coincide with that news, which I've been doing for like 5 weeks now on the show, there's going to be over 350 Best Buy locations across the U.S. with midnight hosting launches. This is the first time a virtual reality headset is going to have a midnight launch, so that's pretty big on its own. But on top of that, that means lots and lots of people are going to be able to, try out what is basically going to be the biggest VR, sale of the year.
The first one. That's the first major one.
Yeah, well, it's not the first major one.
On a mass level?
On a mass level,
yeah.
Yes. Best Buy is backing it. I think maybe GameStop might announce it. I don't know if they're doing midnight yet, but we'll see. And VR has been in the news, not even just in our circle, which is something we talk about all the time, but just to point in that direction, a Redditor lost 15 pounds over 50 days by using HTC Vive and making a workout plan recently, which is insane. It's like maybe VR can revitalize the home workout plan. Kanye would be surprised about that. But this is the Live Undoctored News Show we do here at Dollar Reviews. We do a lot of stuff, but this is where I talk about VR. As you can see, films on occasion. I like talking technology. But I'm Brian Gillis. That's Brian at dollarreviews.net, and that's spelled B-R-Y-O-N, as in the Bry is on Dollar Reviews. But I'm here with Stephen Mominex, who's been gone for about 2 weeks now. He's fresh off his travels around the world. Where did you go? What did you do? What's it like being back home?
Still weird right now, but I went to Canada for 3 days just for myself.
Yoga Ozers, eh?
They spoke French there, so it's more of a Guy Lapointe's territory. But yeah, no, that was actually really cool.
Hey, put buzz in my chin.
Yeah, no, I gotta say though, as far as speaking French, man, their accent is just weird to me in comparison.
It's from an actual French country.
Yeah, it's not so much. I guess the best way to put it, it's not like the difference between an American and a British accent, but more like an American and then a Scottish accent. The Scottish accent is just a bit more thicker and more difficult to understand. So, it's not like I couldn't understand them, but there were moments where I was like, "Come again," really fucking cool city though. Just the nightlife is really awesome, and it was actually just really nice to get away. Then I went to France for a family reunion. It was just nice to see a bunch of people, and then I went to Switzerland for a few days because that's where I was. Yeah, I was taken off from there, and I just went back home, walked around. I even stayed with a friend who I grew up with, so that was cool. It was a nice little break there, and now I am back. So
welcome back.
Yep.
Did you, by any chance, listen to the 2 episodes, or either one, or
I saw that you ended up having a solo route on that first one because I guess you lost the audio.
Yeah.
So that was probably the most that I listened to was 30 seconds because that just sounded like you were talking to yourself, and it was really sad. Yeah.
You're like, I listened to him talk at me it's like anyone could be in like that, but yeah,
you
Chef
just sound
Gio,
insane when you play it that way.
That's hence the
so
name
sad.
of the episode. Yeah, I want to see if I can work on that and try to salvage that audio because it was a really great conversation. It's someone who I've talked to in person basically about the stuff that we talk about on air. And it just so happened that, before we started, I was like, are you fine? Are you set up? Are you doing it this way? Are you doing Audacity? He's like, oh, no, I'm going to record it on my phone. And once you know it, he is a sound engineer. He produces music for people, and his audio crapped the bed. He only had, 20 seconds of audio or something. Not even that. I think he said it was, 4 seconds. But
that's
the other
what the
one,
Skype recorder is for, just as a backup.
I don't do that.
Just
that's
saying.
your
No,
thing.
Hey, I have that just in
that's
case.
What I'm saying. That's your thing.
We're both recording right now, and that's the optimal one to use. But sometimes things they don't work, and that's what it's nice to have the Skype recorder for.
Yeah. Next time I go that route when I do a solo outing or one that you're not on, I might invest in the Skype recorder.
Well, it doesn't cost anything. It's very easy to do.
I don't mean invest in money, but yeah, the better one though is last week. I had a friend.
Yeah,
from
I saw you had
on.
Krish on.
Yeah, do you know him?
Yeah, no, I took a couple classes with him.
Cool.
I haven't seen that dude in 2 years. Yeah, but really cool guy.
Yeah, I actually I went to. He has a DJ residency at the Lash in downtown LA, And so I went to that on Tuesday as like a
He's
thank
a
you for
VR
being on the
tech
show.
now, though, isn't he?
Yeah, so that's what we talk about on the show mostly. I was picking his brain for like the first like 20 minutes or so where I'm just basically interviewing him, like what do you do, what. He was telling me about the experiences he does. He's with this company called 3D Live where he basically he's the tech for their HTC Vive based experiences. So like the two that he's toured with extensively is something called like the Lunar Drive, where it's like golfing on the moon, which is like a co-production with the PGA Tour, and then the other one is called like the Lonely Whale, which is like co-designed by Adrian Grenier. So it was real fun.
From Entourage.
Well, among other things, Drive You Crazy and Aquaman and Gatsby. Oh, I'm sorry, those are Entourage movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a really fun
It'll
episode.
be real, though, in virtual reality, I'm sure.
Kinda, yeah.
Can you imagine that, walking into Entourage land?
Check that episode out. I'm thinking about letting him, or maybe I'll just give him the file and see if he wants to edit it, because he does that. He like makes music and does stuff on the side. Because it'd be really fun if he wanted to snip that around and do things with it. He told me like
for which one, the Chef Geo one, or
no, well maybe he can do that episode himself, Chef Geo. But I want to give Greg the file to see if he wants to do something with it. But before we start here, I want to apologize for this show being delayed. I know I told you like 7. It's actually 10. We do this show on Sunday nights, obviously, for your Monday listening pleasure, whenever
it's
you
actually
listen.
Midnight, but
Well, I'm talking
fair
about
enough.
me.
I know we talk about you a lot.
It's time zones are relevant to where the person is. But
It's actually it's like still like 7 a.m. for me right now. Like my body clock is just all
Don't
sorts
pull
of messed
that
up at the
card.
moment. No, it really is.
No,
like
no, I'm sure it's true,
I've
yeah.
I still have yet to get a
Well, I'm helping you out
well-adjusted
then.
sleep cycle. Yeah. In a way, yeah. Like I'm sure I gotta like 4 hours from now I gotta work, and I got like an 18-hour day. So like right now I'm fine, but I'm gonna be dying later.
Good thing you work with caffeine, just saying. But
That's
I
one of the
wasn't-
things, yeah. But yeah.
I wasn't the only person that was delayed this week. The big one that's been delayed many, many times, many, many years. Terry Gilliam's The Man Who Killed Don Quixote, which was supposed to start production like in 2 days, has been delayed once again. The reason this time was that a producer lied about securing funds. But the directors promised that it's going to be available and screen at Cannes next year regardless. So we'll see if that's true. Just like, should you even give up at this point if you have that kind of bad luck?
At this point, like it's been probably since before I was even born that they were
Yeah.
talking about this. So
Mm-hmm.
if it happens, like I'm sure once it happens, I'll just be like, okay, cool, it finally got made, and that's the end of that story. Like the story of this movie, like the
It's
documentary
super
that's going to
surreal.
be made about this thing,
Oh, there's-
to me
no,
is
there's
going to
already
be
a
far more
documentary.
interesting. Like, or the continuation of that documentary. Like to me, that'll be a way more interesting story than this story right now, honestly.
Well, what's funny though is that the film, I mean, it's an adaptation of sorts of the Don Quixote story by, the fucking Panza with all that shit. I've never even read it, to be honest, because my Spanish isn't good enough to read it in the native tongue, so I feel like I shouldn't. But the story, the way it's adapted, it's about a filmmaker trying to film a version of the story. So you take this reality or how surreal Terry Gilliam's works already are, and then you add it on top of this way, and it's like, oh wow, like that's gonna be another level. I just hope it's really good. Was his last film the Imaginarium, Dr. Parnassus?
No, there's Zero Theorem.
Zero Theorem, which is
I
Amazon
think it's on
Prime,
Amazon
yeah.
Prime. I want to see that still.
I should see it. I heard it's really good.
Yeah.
Duncan Jones was talking about it a while ago. It was like,
Oh yeah, like Ryan Johnson spoke about it a while back. I think he did a Q&A with Terry Gilliam actually on it. But yeah, no, I really want to see that.
I should see that before the end of the year, just because I remember there was like that whole thing where people thought Terry Gilliam died a couple of months back, and he tweeted, he's like, "Nope, I'm still alive. You should
Hasn't that happened
watch my
several
movies."
times, or?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. No,
I
like
don't know.
I have a lot of stuff on my Amazon watch list, and that's one of them that I got to get
Super
to.
scary. We're gonna talk about Amazon in a second. This is where you guys, yes, the listener, could potentially support the show if you're a Patreon supporter. You go to Dollar Reviews. No, backtrack. DollarReviews.net is where all of our content is. If you go to patreon.com/dollarreviews, and I swear I'm going to do this like in a day. It's going to give
It's
you
still
incentives.
not live yet?
No, because I'm fucking lazy. And
I'm
it's
gone
like
10 days.
I'm
and it
trying to perfect this thing, okay? I'm trying to make sure that the incentives are set up in such a way that anyone out there that listens to the show would go, yeah, I'll give $1 or $2 or 20 or 50 or 1,000 for this thing. But right here, we could pimp out your thing, your website, your product, your movie, whatever. So go to the website. It should be up by the time you listen to this, unless, I get stuck on who knows what. But to give you an idea of what you'd be supporting, we don't just do this show, this unedited show. We do a lot of other stuff, too. The one that we're probably both jointly most proud of is Debt to Cinema. It's our semi-topical List of Shame show. We go back and forth picking something that one or the other has never seen before. We just did an episode on The Toxic Avenger, the Trauma film, which is the beginning of my horror marathon, which has just commenced. Victoria came out this week, which, Steve, I know you fucking cheated on, despite your intro. I'm not a sucker.
No. Like, what, you wanted it purely unedited?
Yes.
No, like, the way I look at it is that, hey, that movie has opening titles, like, there's a studio logo in there, and then sandwiched in between, there's this long continuous take. It's kind of the same thing, really.
It's almost the same thing.
It's kind of the same thing.
It's your version.
And you know what? I didn't make it fluid. Like, I left the rough stuff as far as how that conversation started so that it could, like, be clear, okay, this is unedited. Like, so, you know what? Yeah, I just made it clear right off the bat. That's the way it's going to be.
Well, check that one out. It's fun. It's a great movie. I'd buy that for $1.
How can I cheat if I insert music, too? They did the same thing.
No, I'm talking about very, very end. You, move my words around a little bit to make your joke work. And I was
I didn't touch anything. I just took the Skype recording and I threw it up there.
Oh, maybe Skype messed up then, because there's, some speed tricks.
There could be some lag on my end.
Yeah,
but that is the call as I received it. That's how the conversation played on my end of things.
Well, regardless, check that episode out. It's pretty good, and the film's even better. Some other content that we've done, though. Freddy Got Fingered, Tom Green's masterpiece.
How
A Man
long
for
ago
All
have we
season.
done that? I don't even know if that episode's good. Like, that movie left me brain dead, man.
8 months ago now, I want to say. A Man for All Seasons was a couple of weeks ago. Really great Oscar winner. Ricky-O, The Story of Ricky, where I do an introduction rap, which is pretty fantabulous. Bullworth, where Warren Beatty raps the entire film. We got Catwoman, which Halle Berry's in. She's also in Bullworth. And
I'm
The
really
Gift.
proud of that episode, too.
Yeah, most of these episodes are great. And then we also got The Gift, which has probably our best editing. And also Katie Holmes shows her tits. That final one is on Amazon Prime now, so check that out. Our other show, though, is Dollar Views, which we do every once in a while if there's something that can drag us out to the theater. But it's a spoiler-free, no recaps. It's just for new releases, sometimes games, sometimes music, sometimes TV shows. So we did Daredevil Season 2, which was a total mistake. I did not get any sleep. We literally published our episode the Saturday after the show started. So we had an episode on the air less than 30 hours after
I didn't even
the season
finish
was
the
available.
show either. I'm still working my way through it. I think I got 5 episodes left.
I finished the fuck out of that. I'm 3 episodes, for comparison's sake, I'm only 3 episodes into Luke Cage.
Is that out already?
Yeah, it came out on Friday.
Man.
Thursday midnight. But some of the movies that we've done recently on that, Yoga Hosers, Suicide Squad, Batman vs. Superman, The Ultimate Cut, which is seriously one of the better films this year.
I rewatched it, too, last week. It's still that good.
It is really good. If you saw the theatrical cut like I did and you thought it was a shit stain, watch the better version. Watch the longer version. It's going to rinse that taste out of your mouth. It is a legitimately good movie. It's a shame that Warner Brothers tarnished that franchise. But despite that, Suicide Squad is still one of the highest-grossing films of this year. It's the first soundtrack to go gold this year, so it's already doing really well. Some other stuff, Swiss Army Man, I buy that for $1. That's on iTunes now. Really fantabulous. Probably my favorite. I think it's the best film I've seen this year.
Really?
New release, but my favorite's still Sing Street, which is also available on streaming and for home video. You can purchase that one.
Both of those are probably going to hit my top 10 at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Unless
all
we get
three of
really
those.
great stuff this fall. We'll see.
We'll see, but yeah, Batman vs. Superman, Swiss Army Man, and Sing Street are all on my top 10 thus far. Green Room I make honorable mention just because.
Oh, man. No, you should see Don't Think Twice. I don't know if that'll go up your way, but I think that's my favorite movie this year so far. I've not talked about it yet, but...
No, yeah, I'm interested in the I've heard I've talked to other people that have mentioned it, so it's on my radar. So who knows if that hits Netflix or whatever. I'm sure it'll be on SVOD
That and
before the
too
end of the
late.
year.
Like I'm sure
Yeah,
you
that
can
one's
acquire it.
much higher. I don't think I'd pirate that one. I'd rent it.
I
Pay a
said I
couple
think you
dollars.
can acquire it. I didn't
Oh.
specify how.
Okay.
Renting is acquiring.
But we're going to start the show now. That's where the headlines are. Thanks for bearing with us. First off, before we do, just a cock tease. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Dollar Reviews. We're all over the place. YouTube. We're going to say this list again at the end of the show. But some of the headlines. First one, very excited about this. We started the show talking about VR after I said Happy New Year. Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu, Emmanuel Lubezki, big guys, make good movies. Birdman, The Revenant. Guess what? They're already jumping on the VR train. They're going to make a VR experience financed by Legendary Pictures for ILM's X Lab. Already, it's going to follow a group of Mexican immigrants crossing the border into America. It should bow this upcoming spring. This could be the thing that makes people take VR seriously. If you have people of this caliber already embracing the new medium.
Well, we've already been talking about people of that caliber. We've had Michael Bay and shit. I don't know who else,
Well,
and yet that's still a big name.
It's like Steven Spielberg, Michael Bay,
That too,
Jon
okay, yeah.
Favreau, like these people, Michael Stromberg, like these people. It's like, oh yeah,
There's
like,
enough people on
they've
board
made
now.
some good stuff, but I'm talking about like two of the most acclaimed minds right now, like from
just
a
visually
critic.
speaking, like
N-
after The
not
Revenant got so
even-
much,
I
so
don't
many
even-
hand jobs just for the way it was shot, then yes. Like,
I don't even
absolutely.
mean visually though. I'm just like forget that Lubezki's won three
Three in a
DP
row.
Oscars in a row. Just the fact that these maybe not household names but critical circles, big time.
Well, especially just as far as content about a group that's crossing over the border. I mean,
Yeah.
like, come on. If there's anything that can show you what that experience is like through VR,
Mm-hmm.
like, I mean, that's going to resonate with a lot of people just upon seeing it. I can already picture, like, all the tweets and Facebook comments on how people are going to say, you have to see this. You have to see what it is like, of how it's a very powerful depiction of just that experience. I can totally see that reaching out to a ton of people.
Like gamers have embraced VR. It's easy to make, games into virtual reality or virtual reality games rather. There are some live action experiences. There's a good amount of animated one. But cinephiles, because of this project, are gonna need to invest. Either, I hope not a Google Cardboard, but they're gonna have
Or
to
one
go
with
somewhere.
gyroscope.
Yeah, in your
You're
sake.
talking about me specifically, I'm guessing.
But they have to, I would have to imagine, go somewhere. This is ILM X Lab. Maybe it's going to be in like the IMAX VR arcades or whatever. But this is the one right now. This is like if I had a VR calendar, which I fucking do because it started with 11 days till PSVR, which is about to be 10. This would be on there in terms of just experiences, not games. Because I have a lot of games either already purchased or pre-ordered or whatever, or I want to try the demo, etc., etc. But this is what really excites me about it, because video games, you might be able to feel like you're there, but when it's live action, when the people, you can't tell that they're not, that's when you have a true way of not just taking you into another world, but expressing a certain kind of emotion. Like you said, like it can translate what that experience of crossing a border is like. And it's also going to be a huge political thing. It's going to come out, obviously, after we have a new president elected.
And it
But
really
even
depends on
still,
who we have at that point.
regardless of who we have, it's still going to be a powerful statement, not just from
absolutely.
our artistic standpoint, but just from a humanistic one. That instead of the joke of like, oh, coyotes and border crossing, and like look at the beginning of fucking Men in Black, But this could go, oh, that's what it's like, in the same way that like that Norte movie does. So
Like,
excited
it's
to
absolutely
understand
going to
them.
have a huge effect in that sense.
I think it could potentially make the Oscars make a VR category. Just because. Or maybe, like the
like,
technical
at the very
Oscars.
least, if it's so well received, like just as far as if it's that positively well regarded, then I could totally see a movement where people push for it, that it gets that kind of recognition.
I hope,
Especially
because,
if movies are just not that good for that year,
Because, animated films have been nominated, like with Up, nominated for Best Picture now, and even Beauty and the Beast before it, and some other ones down the line.
Well,
Snow
usually,
White,
like
Seven
for
Dwarfs.
stuff like that, though, that's always what it takes. Is that when it comes to the Oscars, if there's entertainment that's just not that good, and then you have something that's great that people love in a category that is not even being considered, then people are really going to push for it to be considered.
But once upon a time, they had best cinematography for black and white and color, best
Yeah, but
film,
that made sense
black and
at
white and
that
color,
point,
best
though.
film, sound, and non-sound. And so with the transition of the technology that is accustomed to, film, VR is that next frontier that eventually, if it's not this year, I mean, you missed it because you weren't on the show, but Oculus has already won an Emmy. Like their short film Henry, that Elijah Wood voices, that won the first VR Emmy. So
Really?
yeah, so VR is already winning prestigious awards. It's going to be who embraces it next. Is it going to be the Golden Globes? Is it going to be the Oscars? Is it going to be both of them? Like
The Oscars
Oscars
is usually never on time. But
no,
we'll
I mean Oscars
eventually
So
they'll get
White
there.
is there. I've already seen so many fucking tweets talking about like Oscars So White is already dead. Look at all these great movies that are coming out this year. It's like don't count your chickens before they've hatched. I'd really hate to see what happens this year, but to be honest, like racial makeups of casts and award winners is not nearly as important as a new step in the medium or a completely new medium, to be honest, because this is the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences, and all three of those things is what virtual reality is. So I'm very excited, and I'm not the only one. I've talked about on the show, there's this VR experience, this short film that's animated called Invasion, made by the studio called Baobab. It's like Baobab. I think they're Chinese. But it just got picked up for a film adaptation. So it's officially the first VR experience to be adapted to the bigger screen. Roth Kirschenbaum Films, which is comprised of the former Walt Disney Studios chairman Joe Roth and former Universal Pictures co-president Jeffrey Kirschenbaum, are going to be working on this collaboration with Baobab to make, in their own words, the next Toy Story. I don't know if the appeal is there, but this short is very cute. It's basically two aliens come down in their UFO and they're trying to fuck with this bunny, and then the bunny like uses its wiles and wits to circumvent their plan and to destroy them. Basically, it's very cute. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to work in VR. I mean, in the on the big screen, just because there's no dialogue and it doesn't seem like something that needs the full feature treatment. I mean, it kind of is like Mars Needs Moms, or like
It
there's
does
like
sound like more of a short the way you describe it. But
it's a
there could
total
be-
short. It's like 7 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, there could be other elements that they introduce in there. I don't know. That's how shorts get expanded. There might be other ideas that they have. Who knows? Like, it's definitely not going to be that simple, I'm sure.
No,
But
it's a headline because it's proof that the traditional cinematic landscape is already trying to adapt VR for its own purposes. We've seen it go the other way around. You got stuff like the Martian Experience and fuck God knows what else. So many different ones. Legendary. Every movie they make, they have something. They got like Crimson Peak, Pacific
the
Rim.
big one was also Star Wars, the thing on
Yeah.
Jakku, right?
Yeah, the
Like
Jakku
that's
Spy.
the first big one that I
There,
remember.
yeah, there's so many out there. It's like if you have a tent pole, we talked about Suicide Squad. That's only at Galaxy. Pretty much, it's guaranteed. The Walk. And if like Sony has every tent pole they have coming up in the near future, after the PSVR launches, is probably going to have a virtual reality either trailer experience or whatever prepared for it to try to sell people that way. And this is just the first step of, oh, you don't have VR, you've never experienced it? Well, we can take that and we can give it to you on a 2D screen. So it's very interesting. That's why I wanted to throw it at the top of the show. More interesting, though, I know you don't embrace the term. Blake kind of liked it. But the live reaction, the live action remake is not dead, and Jon Favreau is going to champion it once again. He made Jungle Book earlier this year. Huge success. It was announced that he's going to be making a sequel. Guess what? Disney doesn't know how to fucking make new things. The Lion King, guys, it's coming to the live action. How that's even possible, given that there's no humans in that story, why would you make it live action? Do you mean photorealistic CG remake? Because that seems like a better term.
Well, let's be fair. After the Jungle Book and how people responded to that so positively, like,
But that's because Mowgli blends
Yes.
in with the animals seamlessly.
yes,
That's
I mean, no,
photorealistic
It's,
plus
it's
live
just
action.
a matter of semantics and what you want to call it. But using that kind of technology to imagine it, maybe
But
as
why?
far as just the idea of a remake, you know, like
Why?
I say this all the time when it comes to things like Evil Dead or like mainly horror based stuff. When you know everyone hears like even Poltergeist, like someone hears that a classic of theirs, a favorite,
Uh-huh.
is being remade, and you know I try to be open minded. I'm like, you know what? At least we'll have the originals. But when it's something that's you know, I get the polarizing reaction because when it's something that's one of your favorite movies of all time, like
Yeah, which is
yeah, I get
probably
the
a lot of
tendency to
people.
want to shit on that, and yeah, no, Lion King is like in my top 10.
It's like The Jungle
No
Book
joke.
is a very, very old movie. Lots
Like,
of
yeah, it's
kids and
well
parents
regarded.
never saw it, okay?
And
But it's well
everyone that
regarded.
does love that movie, even they're cool with a remake for that. Lion King, it's like, no, just I'm sorry,
It's
don't
less,
fucking touch that.
It's barely 20 years old.
It fucking came out 5 years ago in theaters and
Yeah.
made a shitload of money. It made $100 million just from a fucking re-release. Like, you don't. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, I know based on principle, like, you know, we'll always have that movie. And if this comes out and it's good, then I'm sure it'll be fine. It really,
I'm sure it's
doesn't
gonna be
need-
good.
It doesn't need to exist, but yeah, like yeah. I mean, it just makes me sad that like there's way too much franchise stuff. That's really the main thing that's my main reaction here is like I just when it gets to like that point where it's things that I love that I see being remade and I'm even more and more aggressive towards them. Like, why can't you have more shit like Swiss Army Man?
It's
you know?
just, you know this is gonna be good. Jungle Book was fantastic.
I still haven't seen it.
This is on a fast track. Mm-hmm. Like I said, he's already doing Jungle Book 2. He's already doing
Well,
this.
is he directing it? Like, was
Yeah.
that confirmed?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
basically confirmed. So he's going to be, I would assume, doing back-to-back live-action remakes, the live reactions. Why? Why is Disney doing this? It's already bad enough that they're making Pixar make a sequel every single year for the rest of the rest of the time. Okay, it's bad enough that they're actually doing true live-action remakes for stuff like Beauty and the Beast and Maleficent and Pete's Dragon, where you know you have humans. But like I said, there are no human characters in Lion King. The songs are fantastic. You got Elton John to write the music. Who's gonna do it this time? Like, are you gonna recycle the same music? And if that's the case,
Probably. Like,
like
honestly,
what's the fuck's the point?
it
Because
doesn't
Jonathan
need to
Taylor Thomas,
exist.
did a great job on the original film. It wasn't even an original film to begin with. It's a redo of Hamlet meets Star Wars.
It's
Like
not just Jonathan Taylor Thomas. You can touch that entire cast. James Earl Jones,
Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy Irons, people that are still fucking alive.
Yeah.
You know, like, man, I
It's
don't
so
need this.
stupid. It shouldn't exist. It like I made a joke when I reviewed Jungle Book on Dollar Reviews, where I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Next it's gonna be Aladdin." Ha ha ha! It's like no,
No, they
now
went 2
now
steps
that's
ahead
gonna
of that.
happen. Aladdin is definitely gonna happen. Like
Probably. Well,
ABC's stupid
Yeah, I
Once
can
Upon a
see that.
Time, the show kind of proved that there's an audience for them recycling their characters and stories on, you know, with humans. And they're just taking it to an upteenth level. They're doing it with Star Wars. Oh, let's make sequels and spin-offs and movies and TV shows and books and sleeping bags. They're doing it with Pixar. They're doing it with everything. They do not have any ideas at Disney anymore outside of Disney picture animation. Like, besides the stuff that they do there. And they're doing sequels there, too.
geez, I mean, I really am I'm still hoping that the blockbuster trend dies, honestly. Like, and this is the point where just overexposure is getting too extreme.
But see,
Like,
there's...
you know, Pete's Dragon, like, I think did
I'm
okay.
happy.
It
No, I'm
wasn't-
happy that tanked, and I'm happy BFG tanked, too. The only downside of that
BFG
is...
is one of the ones that like you would want to succeed because it's not one of those franchises that are big. It's not just the fact that it's a Spielberg film; it's that
It's still an adaptation of an acclaimed author's, like, one of his audience's
but it
favorite
wasn't.
books.
You know, it's still there's enough love made in that movie that it's not
I
being
don't care.
made just for the money.
It was made for the money. It's Disney. It's always made
come
just for the
on.
money.
Come
Disney
on
makes
now. Like,
movies
you
to
have
sell
to see-
people to go to their theme park so they can enjoy the movie experience in real life.
It's
That's
not
the only
easy to
reason
sell
movies
BFG
exist.
to kids today. I don't think. Like, you know, even just Roald Dahl in general, unless it's Willy Wonka. You know, I mean, Fantastic Mr. Fox didn't do that well. Like, I don't know. Roald Dahl, I guess, is more polarizing when it comes to film.
Speaking of, if you like The Witches, we had an episode for that on Death to Cinema.
It's on Amazon Prime now too.
Yeah,
so watch it there.
Watch it for
Fucking-
free.
I
Listen
love
to
that
our
movie.
episode.
Yeah.
Pretty fun. But there is a flip side to this. I don't mind blockbusters. I mean, yes, we need less of them, But like, just proof of this, Justin Lin is going to be developing, producing, and directing Hot Wheels for Legendary. I'm okay with that. Why? Because his
he
career
directed
started.
The Fast and Furious.
Exactly.
That's right.
Tokyo Drift is, if you could make that a Hot Wheels movie.
Man, it's funny. Like, I know that you get typecasted in Hollywood, but like it's
Well, he went and did Star Trek, so he didn't get
it's
completely
true.
typecasted.
No, I mean, but then again, like we almost every piece that's news, it's rarely for things that are original. We're always talking about franchises and stuff that keeps but then again, so many of them are in development that I'm seriously wondering, like, well, shit, I don't know. Will this can realistically a Lion King remake happen?
It's happening. I guarantee
Or are
it'll
they
be
gonna
in
push
theaters.
The Jungle Book 2 first.
Jungle Book 2 is probably coming out first.
Yeah.
Because they already...
That's a guaranteed moneymaker.
Well, not even just that, but they already have all the assets. They've already come up with the CG models for all the characters. That half the work is already done.
You just don't want the kid getting old too fast.
So they're probably already filming that, to be honest. But why isn't Jon Favreau making original shit anymore? He created the MCU with Iron Man 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he made stuff like Zathura.
And then he did Chef because he needed to do more
he
original
needed to
shit.
do shit.
Like that
But
was
even
clearly a personal flick.
Is it like he made Cowboys and Aliens and then he gave up hope on ever making anything original again? And that's an adaptation too, but it's like, where is that promised Magic Kingdom movie that he's supposed to be making where it's like Kingdom Hearts come to life, where it's like the theme park, all the worlds in Disneyland are
That's
real.
not original shit, though. I'm more sad that we don't have the same filmmaker.
It's
anymore.
visionary, though, is what I'm saying. Like, it might not be 100% original. It's an adaptation of a theme park ride, and there's proof that that's okay. The first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, Tomorrowland wasn't perfect, but at least it was different.
It was far more interesting than everything else.
And why is Disney doing this? They're squandering everything, and
because it's a safe bet. From a business sense, absolutely, it makes sense.
It's
For
a cult.
Giant moneymaker like them. I mean, yeah, it is a corporate decision. As one, I totally understand it. The fact is, though, when you're making corporate decisions on stuff that's supposed to be creative, then that's where it feels very soulless and cynical and just, I mean, downright like it's a fuck you.
It's.
I'm not a fan of it either, but it's like, from a money standpoint, I totally see it. I see why it's happening.
You've seen how many Disney VHSs I own.
Yeah.
Like, I
own just as many.
I clearly grew up on this shit. Like, most people did. It's just, I separated myself from that at a certain point in time. I hate going to Disneyland. I don't like spending that money. I still go see Pixar movies, but I try not to. I mean, if it looks like a good movie, it's a good movie. I'm going to see it regardless. But I don't buy Disney things because it has the Disney brand on it,
No.
And,
I think, we were exposed to a lot of Disney stuff because I think, especially in the VHS age, like, that was, like, most of the stuff that was out there for kids, really. Like, and it had its own unique look then. So then... Yeah, and
let's
I
put it back in the vault so you can buy it
now,
again in 10 years, guys.
But yeah, no, like, I do have family members that are actually like that are hardcore invested in Disney, have like mugs and
all
toasters
the
and
the
shit.
annual pass and the tattoos.
Yeah, no, like
and...
really big Disney nuts, man. And like, I sure as shit I'm not one of those people. Like, but I like the stuff that most of the content that's created because, hey, I grew up with it. Like, it informed a lot of what my tastes are, I think.
Sidebar: Zootopia is on Netflix streaming. Watch it if you haven't. It's really fantastic. Great noir film.
Let's bash on Disney and then promote them at the same time.
Like I said everything they do besides Disney animation. Like,
it's a Disney love-hate relationship, yeah.
Their in-house animation studio, like with Moana coming out in a couple of months, they're still making original stuff that's good. Wreck-It Ralph.
There is Frozen 2 coming out.
Yeah, and Wreck-It Ralph 2 also. But
yeah, okay, well...
They're still, out of most of what they own, it seems like they're the only ones that are going for gambles, that they're trying new intellectual properties. Except then, it's also Disney...
Pixar's, they've only got one movie this year, but what Ed Catmull, apparently, what he said they're going for is that if they're going to try releasing multiple films, at least one of them has to be original for the sake of creativity.
Which I don't buy.
No,
what are the ones that we know are
logical.
coming? We know for sure Incredibles 2, Toy Story 4, Cars 4.
Yeah, but Coco's also next year, so that's one original flick coming out.
Sure, but
right now they've only got
lost.
one. So
I wouldn't be surprised if Monsters, Inc. 2 is down the pipeline.
Hey, we had 2 original films last year from them, so...
Yeah.
Honestly, like, that is a good starting point.
but it hurts my soul. Like, I want to leave this planet when I think of that stuff, and Elon Musk has gotten in the way. Did you see his proposed plan for the Mars colonization this week?
Tell me.
It's pretty exciting. So, if the tech finally gets to where he plans it to be or sees it to go, he thinks that we could ultimately take 200 people to the Red Planet in as little as 80 days. And this includes like refueling mid-orbit, using SpaceX's reusable shuttles, all kinds of stuff. And if this works, the 200 people in 80 days thing with costs and all that shit, that he predicts within 100 years or less, they could build a civilization of 1 million people on Mars. And of course, return flights will be available for people that don't like being off our water planet.
Well, I mean, I would hope by that point too, like we'd be easily able to like go back and forth. Maybe, I don't know. And less than that, things move so fast. Like, shit, I would hope that I could travel from Earth to Mars within a day. Like by the time I'm 70, I would hope.
No,
that's wishful thinking.
That's
man.
like light speed. Like,
Hey,
well, I mean, that
wanna-
is possible.
I don't want to retire on this planet, man. Like, like. I was born in a time after we went to the moon. Like, I'm still in my head. I was born after Star Wars was made.
Yeah.
Like, fuck. I should be able to die somewhere far away from here, I think.
Maybe. This is like, it's such a weird news item because I didn't watch the press conference. I read a couple of reports on it, and he's a very serious man. Except like he started the press conference with the underpants gnomes joke. It was like step one, steal underpants. And yet, everything that we've ever talked about on the show, because he does come up pretty frequently, he makes an announcement, he does it, and it's like, oh, it came true. It's like the solar panels on Tesla cars' roofs so they can charge the batteries. That's already being done. They're doing that now. So this is going to happen. Maybe not in our lifetimes, the 80 days. Like, it could take 100 days to get there. But even still, like something like Passengers later this year, that could be a reality. Like, you could be out there, but I don't think they're doing cryogenically freezing. What I remember reading, it's more so like there's going to be like a restaurant and like video game arcades and stuff like that on the space shuttle, and that way you can have a good time.
So it's more like a cruise, really.
Yeah, it's like a space cruise.
Yeah.
You're going there, but then I'm also kind of worried that maybe we'll be like the people in WALL-E and
It's
just
the
like
Axiom, yeah.
that's sitting on our
mind.
fucking beds with our touchscreen displays.
Because we aren't already.
Not like that. We still have bones.
Well, yeah, no, like we're not sitting in chairs, but come on, like that's really all you need is just, I don't know, to have like a hovering.
Ooh, blue's the new red. Everyone get the blue jumpsuits.
Yeah,
we could. It's like by and large.
Oh, we already are. Like, that's just corporate culture. I mean, shit has been this way since before we were even born.
Yeah, it's called a soap opera for a reason.
Yeah.
But, man, like, just the idea of a reusable space shuttle 5 years ago was preposterous. And, between SpaceX and Amazon, like, they have them. It's not foolproof yet, but it's there. Like, that alone is changing the way space travel is going to work. Not just for personal reasons like this, but NASA too. Like, it's not going to be, like every 15 years we can take people into space. It'll be like every 5 years, Like, the only thing that's going to matter is doing the physics and figuring out fuel propulsion and all that stuff. It's so exciting. Like, I like talking about VR, it's escaping reality and going into something else. I like talking about cellular technology, which is connecting with everyone. But then when it's actual science stuff like this, like not science fiction, but actual science, like it's exciting. It really is almost even scary, really, to think about.
I really can't wait to get there, man. Like, seriously, I'm so fucking bored here.
Just what is it going to
man.
be like? You said like we're born in the post-moon landing era.
Yeah, no,
what's it going to be like?
It's tragic
for...
that we're not fucking there yet.
No, fuck that. It's not tragic. It's like, what's it going to be like for our kids, though? They're going to be in the post-Mars colonized era.
I would hope so, but I don't know. Like, it's just, is there enough passion for that really, or am I digging way too deep into this? Like, there's a cynical side of me that just keeps thinking this is not going to happen, at least not as fast as
Hey,
I want it to.
hey, I saw all those movies about Mars travel, some of them with Arnold Schwarzenegger, directed by Paul Verhoeven. I can believe that Total Recall is real. That I
We
can
were
go.
supposed to have a Pan Am space station 15 years ago.
I
Yeah.
can do it. I can
With a
go.
base on the moon.
I should be able to go to the mall, get into a virtual reality headset, and pretend like I'm having a spy mission on Mars. Except in the near future, it's not going to need VR. I can actually go to Mars and have my spy mission. It's happening. Like I can imagine being in flight, in orbit to Mars and watching Total Recall. Like that's as meta as it gets. Like that's gonna be watching it in VR on the space shuttle. There you go. It took it to the next step. That's gonna be the way it works. It's gonna Recall is gonna be a real thing in the next 20 years probably. Like, his VR is gonna
Man,
be so
probably,
good
yeah.
that you're not gonna know if it's real or not.
Like, it'll be a more of a covert form of recall, I guess.
I hope there's actually
That's
there's
kind of depressing.
there's
Actually.
a soy-based like energy supplement out there called Soylent right now.
Hmm.
I bet you there's gonna be a VR like company in the future called Recall with a K. It's gonna if someone doesn't come up with it, I will. I'll
Yeah,
brand that.
no, everyone. It seems like that always happens. It's like anything that's kind of a warning. Fuck, I can't remember what specific thing we've talked about here. That you said was happening, but that was just like something that a movie was clearly against,
Yeah.
and
And then sure enough, it happened.
and then it's doing that thing. Like it seems like fuck that we're inevitably preparing our own destruction.
Yeah, we're pretty fucking stupid. And it starts with, did you see that thing? A couple people talked about like the way that I saw it before Facebook took off with it. It was through Neil Blomkamp, where like supposedly the first human to live to be 1,000 has already been born, or something with the way that medicine works now, or something like that. But going off of that,
It's just an absurd theory.
it's not like it's a theory, but I don't know. I get sick maybe once a year. Like I have a great immune system that I can see it being a possibility. Just if there's other people out there whose immune system are like mine, and I mate with them, then our kid could potentially never get sick. And if you never even have the common cold, who's to say you'll ever die? Like with the advances with technology, the fact that you can 3D print like a heart for someone. Like VR can cure blindness, like shit like that. With how fast we've progressed, that yeah, it's like maybe someone won't die for maybe not 1,000 years, but I could see like 200 years. I'm pretty confident that someone alive today is going to live to be 200. Just like why not? Like there's already people out there that are living to 105. They were born 100 years ago, and the
Like,
way
I would
science
like
is
to think
now.
I could live to 125. I would.
Oh,
like
for
to
sure.
think.
No, I think
Yeah.
125 is totally doable for us. But I think I could hit 200 or like at least 150. And it's gonna be so cool. Like imagine
Yeah.
getting to meet your great 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 grandkids.
Man, fuck. I hope so, man. I really do.
It'd be so exciting. But yeah, IMDb is trying to stop this age. I don't even know what to call it. Renaissance. If you don't know, IMDb displays the ages for actors. That's just
So
changed.
it's an age renaissance,
I think that's what I'm gonna fly
a
with
new
here.
beginning of a new age. Is that what you're going with?
Sort of, yeah. California just signed a law to prohibit IMDb from displaying actors' birthdays upon requests. So this can help in terms of actors that are a little bit past their prime. Maybe they're 50, but they still look like they're 30. For instance, I'm 25, but I could pass for 16 if I shaved. And so if I was an actor, there are probably people out there, oh, he's too old to be a teenager. And there's literal out there, it's just, it's ageism. That, casting directors will look over people, especially actresses, if they are of a certain age, despite being able to play it.
Okay, but back up here 1 second. You said California. What, like they have laws over what can go and not be on the internet? Like,
Oh, yeah, sure.
California can manage what goes on the internet?
Well, I
Is
would
that how
imagine
powerful the state is?
I would have to imagine this matters in terms of California and it being a law here,
Or
because
is it just how it's displayed? I mean, does IMDb operate in California?
yeah, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure first off Amazon owns IMDb, or rather it's a subsidiary, but I would have to imagine that IMDb is operated out of California, and more so, all the agencies and guilds and all of the stuff that have to do with Hollywood are as the word would
They're
mention.
affected by it, but as far as laws, I would imagine in order to have any effect whatsoever, it has to be bigger than the state.
I don't think so. I mean, when a company is incorporated, it abides not by internet rules, because that's no such thing. It abides to whatever rules it's incorporated in. So if IMDb were a California company, which I would assume it is, the laws of California would affect its business practices. But the problem here isn't that, oh, it's going to be great for actors. It's that this law might be unconstitutional. There's something going on. I read this really, really, really lengthy thing on Variety. If you just look it up, IMDb, California law, ages, I'm sure you guys can find it. But basically, it's not necessarily a First Amendment right if it's commercial speech, which is what this is. It's not, if you get what I'm saying, this isn't your own speech. This is a commercial thing. So there's good intentions here, to lessen that ageism that I'm talking about. But a birthday is a factual document. Adam Sandler
Also,
is
we
born.
have talked about this before, or maybe I don't know if it was you and me, but like just how they acquire that information, how they acquire someone's birth date, and
That's public information.
the fact that they throw it out there, like people have acquired it through Amazon accounts. I can't remember, one actor or actress was suing IMDb because they got it through credit card information linked through Amazon, in turn linked through IMDb. So I mean, it's more like, how the fuck do they get this stuff, really? Like, I have an IMDb page. I would be pissed if they had my birth date on it.
It shouldn't be an issue. If you don't have if you have an uncommon name, it's pretty easy to find just about anything you want to know about someone off the internet. But someone's birthday or how old they are is a fact. It's something historic. Like, I know that I share a birthday with Adam Sandler because of the internet, and like that's a fun fact. It's something
Nice.
to share with people. And down the line, if you're prohibiting that kind of stuff, you're limiting what people have access to. Like, it has a great purpose, the whole
But I do
ageist
think
thing.
like the big thing is whether or not you want your birthday up there. Like that's
Sure, yeah, that is
having
a.
the person to have the right of whether they want their personal information up or not.
It's
that's
it's
one
no
thing.
different than the right to be forgotten laws that search engines have been employing for like 2 or 3 years now. That if you want to be removed from Google, you can do that, and you get like a do-over. That way, when people query you, it's not going to be readily available. It's going to have to redo all of their search engine stuff. And so this is kind of like the same thing, except I don't think this is going to take off. I have a feeling like this law is going to get overturned because it is kind of weird that
Well, it's just California, really, only? Like, it has to
Well,
be bigger than that in
the
order to really
industry
be taken seriously, I
is in
think.
California for the most part. Even if you're making a movie in New York, chances are the studio is here, and they're the one that are financing it, and so it would be a California law. But like I said, I don't know. This was
In
like,
order to have any real impact, though, it's got to go higher than that.
yeah, but
I
this
imagine.
is there. Like I said, there are no internet rules. There's no constitution of the internet. The internet is a global thing. There's no way to really set policy for those kind of things unless you have whatchamacallit. You have some not kind of body, but you have like a lobbyist group or something of that nature to really set up how the ins and outs work for these type of things. But it's good and it's bad and it's weird and it's wacky and it's like a new frontier. But I don't think this is going to last. I have a feeling like this law is going to be overturned really quick. Just because, despite it having good intentions, like I said, I read this huge article. It isn't a First Amendment right, since your birthday is there for commercial purposes. You're trying to get hired. It's not your personal information anymore when you're trying to be employed. In the same way, when you get a job, you generally have to get either an ID or your social security card or both documented at your employer. Like, you can't go, oh, I don't want that on record, I'm going to keep that.
No.
So if you sign the contract, which most blockbusters do now, not only do they have all your information, but in the case of like Paul Walker, they make 3D scans of your body in case you were to die on set so they can replicate you using technology. Like every tentpole does that now, I have to
Like
assume.
that is a thing now. Did they have scans or did they facially reconstruct it? Because I don't think they scanned them at the time.
I think it was both, but because
I
of
think
his
that's
passing,
a big thing now.
yeah,
like,
because of his passing, it's like every contract had, like if you're in a Marvel or DC movie or basically anything with like over $50 million budget, Yeah,
It's fucking terrible, man.
it's brilliant. It is terrible that we have to do this because
Yeah,
people
no,
die,
like on a human level, it's awful. Yeah, absolutely.
but I mean, Robin Williams notwithstanding, idea that you're going to be able to have holographic data for actors because of this kind of stuff that's being done. Like in the future, if you have a child actor, they're doing these scans, you're going to be able to like not go on the internet, but you're going to be able to download like a holographic timeline of their age progression. Like
I still have to see that movie though. What's it called? I think The Congress or something. The one with what's her face from House of Cards, Robin Wright.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which does kind of play with that premise in that she loses work to basically a scan of herself
oh, that's a cool concept.
because she sold her image out there. Yeah, it was made a few years ago. Some that like I think Draft House Films put it out and it's really weird for quite a few people, but I really still want to see it. It's the guy that did Waltz with Bashir, I think did
I
that.
still
so
haven't
it's kind
seen
of animated.
that. I've been meaning to watch that for so many years, and I still haven't seen it.
Yeah, no, I want to see I was kind of drunk when I saw Waltz with Bashir in the theater too, and it was New Year's Eve, so
That's okay.
so yeah, that was not ideal. But yeah, no, I should see The Congress, and I got to see Waltz with Bashir.
Yeah,
again.
that's on something. It's either on Netflix or it's Amazon, or because it's on my watch list or whatever, on whatever service it is. Because I must have saw the little plot synopsis. I was like, yeah, that sounds like something that I'm gonna enjoy. So maybe I don't know. Not my favorite actress, but maybe I'll check that out soon. Amazon, talking about IMDb, they just unveiled at TwitchCon this weekend something they're calling Twitch Prime. This is awesome. And talking about TwitchCon, you missed it, Steve. But while you were gone, I went to GameStop Expo and Long Beach Comic Con. I got a press pass for one, and I hush worked the other one. So I am working on getting out there and getting us out there. I'm also going to PlayStation Expo. The PlayStation Experience in Anaheim in December. So I am trying to hit the ground running despite being lazy on the internet. You know, if you follow our Twitter, you can attest to that fact. But anyway, what they showed off at TwitchCon is something new for Amazon Prime members. People that are part of Prime, not the monthly subscription, but the actual annual one, now get ad-free streaming and exclusive loot such as free DLC and even complimentary games. The first one being Streamline, which is made by Amazon themselves. In addition to like the 20% off of new releases and all the other Prime perks that come with it, that these help create a better package for Amazon Prime. Like not only do you get this free streaming, the 2-day shipping, and this and that, but you also get services across their whole line. Like, it would be cool with this being implemented if maybe you get an IMDb Pro account as well in the future. Maybe call it IMDb Prime instead. Because this is, I use Twitch. I stream on it occasionally. I watch it a lot. And when you're watching, you got to watch that little 30-second ad. It does suck. And as someone who's been using a YouTube Red trial for like over a month now, oh man, it's a world of difference not having those little snippets, those little trailers or commercials every
it's just
video.
like the old days when YouTube came out and there weren't any ads.
It seriously feels like a whole different thing. And so I was using Twitch the other day. It's super easy. You just go to, I think it's like twitchprime.com, and you can sync your Amazon Prime account with your Twitch account. But like you get a special badge, you have access to different emojis, and like I said, you have free games and free loot. Like you have like a free like Hearthstone like pack or something like that. So they are using like real games already, and so this really makes it like a true infrastructure for having Amazon Prime. Like it's like I said, it's not just the movies and the music and the photo storage and all of these things, but it's like a real reason. It's like, oh, that's only $100 a year. That's nothing. And
well, it already is a steal, and they're just building on top of it, getting more stuff, which, I mean, we've sucked off Amazon's dick plenty of times.
Most people will.
On the show, yeah.
But this, like, it's married really well, in my opinion, to something like how, I just mentioned YouTube Red. If you have YouTube's Red, Google also gives you access to their Google Play Music, like, Unlimited, or whatever the fuck they call it, their Spotify competitor. I mean, Amazon does that with Prime too, and so I think this is going to be the start of paid services offering many things at once. Like, it's not just one. Like Netflix, You just get Netflix. It is not a good deal. Like HBO Go, it's just that. So like you
Hey, for the price though, like it's I mean for Netflix specifically, what is it still like $9.99?
that's not that good. When Amazon Prime Instant Video is $8.99 and you get like 3 times as much content. Like if you don't
Fair enough.
if
No,
you
but I like
love their original programming, sure, but the fact that you don't need a contract with Netflix, if I actually paid, if I didn't piggyback off of someone's account, which like probably 50% of the people that use Netflix do, I would just pay for the month for the thing that I wanted. So it was like, oh, a new Arrested Development? Yeah, I'll get it. Oh, Stranger Things Volume 2? Yeah, I'll do that. The new Marvel show? Yeah. But there's like no reason anymore. I saw this thing online. 2011 compared to Netflix now, there's 50% less content.
well, they're getting more into
And
like
it costs
they're
more.
trying to push original content now.
No, yeah, they are
What
pushing
is
original
it like? I
content.
think that they said something like they want 50% of all their stuff
Mm-hmm.
to be just strictly original.
Yeah, by 2020, they want 50% of their stuff to be made by them, which is crazy because
Well,
that's
and that
not
also means probably far less content
Yeah.
available than right now.
because what that's not the reason why people got Netflix in the first place. It was access to a huge movie library and TV shows too, all at once, streaming. Like it was pitched that way, and sure, they are becoming the new TV. They're winning awards or at least being nominated for them, but there really isn't that much stuff on Netflix even yet that is truly groundbreaking or must see. Like I still haven't seen Stranger Things. Daredevil season 1 is fantastic. Like I have seen a good amount of stuff that's like, oh yeah, that's like really good. House of Cards being a good example, at least the first 2 seasons anyway. But it's not
I mean,
like
that
you
is
don't.
an opinion though, because I do feel like you maybe you might not say it, but a lot of people would. Like so many people lose their shit over Stranger Things that like I've seen the first 2 episodes right now, and it's fine.
okay.
It's a decent hook.
Yeah.
I have not like jumped on the love train yet, but man, like it's still. Like yeah, I think these are shows that like when people talk about TV, most of the shows that are commonly in conversation, if it's not Game of Thrones, then it is House of Cards, or it is Orange is the New Black, or in this case now Stranger Things, or hell, even Daredevil.
Definitely Daredevil. Well,
Like, yeah, I
just
mean,
that
as
whole
far as just-
Marvel universe.
Yeah, I mean, just as far as like shows that like people talk about in conversation now when you pass by, a lot of them are Netflix, maybe half of them.
But what's
honestly.
weird is because of the nature of its business model, because it's a binge first mentality, that conversation only lasts for a certain amount. It has a shelf life. It lasts until the next thing comes out.
Between people that saw it, but then there's also
Mm-hmm.
the conversations that you pass by where they try to pitch and they say you have to see this, like when
Nope,
you have the weekend
just
off and you're gonna binge on something.
Kind of in
watch
general,
that.
though, to be honest. Like, what's it called? Master of None, Aziz Ansari show that came out last year. It just won an Emmy. That's cool.
Yeah, you
but
talked about
yeah,
it.
I loved it, but
Nobody else talked about
no,
it.
a lot of people talked about it. But that's what I'm saying.
Not to me, but yeah.
They talked about it when it came out. They talked about it again the other week because it won some awards. But that's
Yeah,
how
it's the
Netflix
same
works.
with Judd Apatow's Love. I
Yeah.
mean, like it's not one of the big ones, but yeah, those shows that are huge on Netflix, like
You
the
can't.
conversation around those just as big as some of the other stuff that's on TV. In fact,
No,
like
no, it's like you can't compare them because okay, Westworld just started tonight. Game of Thrones.
Uh-huh.
When HBO starts a show, you watch it this Sunday, the next Sunday, the next Sunday for at least 8 weeks. So for 8 weeks, there's a guaranteed conversation, and it builds and builds and builds as the season gets further. Because when it's about to end, the people that do like binging, they can watch it all on HBO Go or Now, or even on their DVR. Whereas with Netflix, if you don't watch it that first weekend, you're behind. The fact
I
that
don't know.
Luke
In the
Cage,
case of Stranger Things, it's interesting because they really just dropped it, and that was something that just kind of grew in its reputation. So
for every
that's a
stream,
conversation that is still ongoing.
I think that's because it's
the Daredevil-
Halloween and that's like related to the season. But
Yeah, but it's been
there's
it's
been
been out for what, like 2 months now?
something like that. But there's so many things that Netflix does. They put out their content so frequently that it's hard to watch it all, and only some of it even lands. Stranger Things being a prime example of that case, because that wasn't a big name project. It's not, oh yeah, David Fincher's working on this, or Judd Apatow, or
no, and now people are like just going, "Who the fuck are the Duffer Brothers?
Yeah.
I want to see more of their
or
stuff."
or
Yeah.
even more so, like look at Mumblecore, that Easy show that we talked about forever ago. That's on Netflix right now, and I didn't even know. Transparent season 3 is already on Prime. I didn't know until I picked up Entertainment Weekly the other day. Like the way the streaming binging model works, you get lost. Like, you forget about it. And I don't think the 50-50 idea is smart. Just because, maybe it's because of the kind of person I am, but at that price point, how's that any different than like paying for cable? It's when you buy HBO, it is 50-50. It's 50 the original
Well, it's like
programming,
once
50
cable
movies.
is dead, it's streaming is inevitably going to get as expensive as cable is now. It's slowly just easing in that way.
And that I don't like that.
Like I'm not joking. Yeah, when I've said it before. Hey, there's a cable package now. Pretty soon it'll be a streaming package. I'm sure that there's going to be some sort of alliance between these companies, like
Oh, no, that
in a
already
way to
exists.
keep cable. Yeah, like it'll
PlayStation
definitely.
View, which we've talked about a lot on the show,
Mhm.
they just introduced something this past week. They have a new top tier package. I think it's called like PlayStation View Ultra. You get like 100 channels, whatever, Food Network, ABC, AMC, basically anything you think of, Comedy Central. With that ultimate package, it includes Showtime, Cinemax, and HBO also. So you get 3 premium channels, plus all of the basic stuff, even the locals, plus a DVR, plus that, with no annual fee, with no contract, with no installation package or anything like that. You just pick up and go as you want. I think depends where you are in the country, but if you're in a metropolitan area, it's like
Mhm.
$65 or $75. It's the pretty much the exact same fee as it would be if you had
For
satellite or
cable,
cable.
yeah.
And that's just the first of which. Hulu has their thing coming out later next year. DirecTV Now is coming out this year. Dish Network Sling is very similar. And so, yeah, that streaming package is going to be a thing, and more so, and really close by. But talking about packages, we've already talked about Google a little bit, talked about Disney a little bit. They're both in the running alongside Salesforce and Verizon to flat out purchase Twitter. Um, yeah, so this social media conduit, their CEO, Jack Dorsey, actually sits on the Disney board of advisors, giving credence to the House of Mouse having interest in this. But they're really hot right now, especially with how big their streaming launch was for Thursday Night Football. That took it off big time. Matter of fact, it made their stock jump like 20% just amid people, the rumors for people buying them. And so, if there was ever a time for them to sell, it'd be now. Google is a healthy fit in my opinion. I think it's the best one just because of how bad Google Plus failed and Google Buzz and all the times they've ever tried to do social, it hasn't worked. They have so many things. They have music streaming, photo libraries. They obviously have a search engine. So many things that are great, and they don't have any kind of social network. And Twitter would be perfect for them, especially with the way Twitter is used in search engine results. Disney, I don't understand that at all. Why would they want that? Like, maybe because of the sports package and they own ESPN, and ESPN's been tanking over the last couple of years because it's shit. Verizon, they want to buy everything. Salesforce, I barely even know who they are, to be honest. I think they work with like advertising on the internet. But I just based off of how this has been working, this is like a 2 week rumor now, and the only more names are being added to it. I expect Twitter to be acquired in the next month. I have a feeling like someone's going to buy them really fast, and nothing's going to change. They're going to stay the same, except if Google does buy them, there's probably going to be better implementation with their
Well, it's
network
going to
of
be
services.
far more like you'll definitely see more things that are linked to like just as far as signing in to that and
Yeah,
basic things like that. Yeah.
but they don't name it anything else. Keep the name, keep the branding, keep everything. Just get their money. It's
Yeah.
probably the way it's going to work, unless it's Verizon. I think they could do something sinister, and I just hope they don't ruin it because I don't want to have to leave Twitter because of corporate underlines. But just like one other,
Well, then Twitter's big enough right now that I think everyone would be vocal about it if it went to shit.
I mean, it's sort of big, but not really. It like comparing it to like Instagram or Facebook. It's not just like the general person.
Facebook is still unique in that sense. I still don't see the point of Instagram. I really don't.
Tell Facebook that they bought it for a ridiculous amount of money, but
It's no different than posting a picture on Facebook to me, except it's just nothing but pictures.
it's stupid.
Except you can show them to strangers, I guess.
I don't really use Instagram anymore. Like it's like Twitter. It's basically a microblog. You can only you have constraints. You can only be so witty in so much space. It's perfect for live events and live tweeting, like either that be sports or award ceremonies or anything like that, because it is it's a thought. It's quick. It's a tweet. Like it's a very quick thing. Whereas Facebook, there's no limit to what you can share. And Instagram, like especially the way it works now with like minute-long videos, collages, like when you have peripheral stuff with like Boomerang and all those kinds of things, and Musically and shit like that, I've like moved further and further away from Instagram because it strictly works on the I like that scale. If someone likes you, it gets popular and more people see you. But there's nothing
There's
else.
not much interaction from there.
Yeah, there's nothing else. People very rarely comment on Instagram. I don't understand the point. I probably will delete it very soon, just because I don't know. Like it's not an audience that I want, and I don't really take pictures to begin with.
Yeah.
It was like I got it when it came out because oh look, it's whatever. But yeah, you're right. It is no different than Facebook, except it's just pictures.
Yeah, I mean, usually with pictures, for me, that it's a personal thing, but it's like I'd rather share it with people I know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just stupid, but
I can post a picture to anybody on Twitter as well. So,
it's a little bit different. I mean, it's
Yeah,
it's
I mean-
when it comes to the pictures on Instagram, it's the filters to be honest, because there
Yeah.
really is great photo editing bundled into Instagram. Like just outside of the pre-made filters, you can change just
see, that's
about anything.
that's a personal thing. I'm not all about those filters.
I'm not either.
I prefer getting stuff like
I'm not either, but if
camera.
you don't have Photoshop and you want, like, you can't do everything you can do in Photoshop, but you can do a lot of it, and it's free, and, like, that's most of the appeal. Like, you can take your crappy Android phone and take a picture and make it look really beautiful or really shitty. So I understand the appeal, but it's just not something that appeals to me.
Yeah.
But in terms of being bought out, Spotify is rumored to be acquiring SoundCloud in the near future. And the reason here is that this would offer a way for creators to get their content on the service without any middlemen required. There's like some weirdness here because SoundCloud made something called SoundCloud Go not too long ago, which we covered like over a year ago actually, where it's like their paid option. And so part of that is that subscribers have access to certain kind of music, something that Spotify doesn't do. Like Spotify, the free users and the premiums, they have access to the same library. It's just you can skip songs and listen, like download music, and also there's no ads. Whereas on SoundCloud, you literally can only access certain things. So who knows how that's going to be implemented? But it would be really smart, especially like if Apple Music buys Tidal. The less competitors there are out there, the more you can cause changes in the industry. Like if there's only like 3 or 4 different versions of the same thing, then it makes the numbers work. They bounce off of each other. Like look at video games. There's only really 3 companies as of right now. So like that kind of stuff, it really does matter. But here's a final tech news, and it's a perfect...
Ultimately, though, just if this does happen, are you saying basically that we'll finally be on Spotify? We'll just have that very limited SoundCloud library on there?
Maybe. I hope. I mean, I think it would be an easier way to get on Spotify because...
But they would still suck because we wouldn't have much on there.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
like because of library space. It's
Yeah.
SoundCloud is kind of lame, and Spotify is even worse because you can be on Spotify as a podcast. It's just you need an established audience, which is so stupid because I know so many local artists that are on Spotify who, I'm not trying to point fingers, but don't have as many listens to their music as we have listens to our show.
Mm-hmm.
So we're more popular than they are in a certain aspect, and yet we can't be on their service because we don't make music.
Well, that's a problem with the service. If they're doing their thing, then hey, by all means, God bless them. Honestly.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not laughing at them or anything. It's just
No. I'm just if any of them by chance are listening, but also hey, that I mean. But I'm agreeing. I'm at that point now where I'm tired and I'm just saying shit.
Well,
yeah, let's keep going.
yeah, the show's more than halfway over. Here's the last piece of headline, and it's a perfect segue for tech. I'm sure you saw that there's a new iPhone out there. It has no headphone
yeah.
jack. Months ago,
Yeah.
we talked about a new Motorola phone that came out, like about 2 months before the iPhone did, that didn't have a headphone jack. Well, the USB Implementers Forum has just cemented the audio jack's death by publishing Audio Device Class 3.0 specifications. So basically, there's standards now for how USB Type-C ubiquity is going to exist, and it's going to lessen the blow of manufacturers such as Apple and Motorola, as I just named, by completely abandoning the port altogether. So USB Type-C can implement better voice recognition, better waterproof design, more energy efficient usage, all kinds of things. Plus, Type-C, just like Lightning Bolt, there is no right way to plug it in. It's perfect no matter what. So maybe this is like a year from now, which is really sad because the 3.5 millimeter jack hasn't existed that long, but the audio jack itself is really old. Like, I want to say probably over 100 years old.
I mean, it's just, like, it's hard to mourn the death of it. It's just something that I think we're used to, but as long as something better replaces it, then
I don't think
and
better is the
it's easy to
term though,
use.
because you know,
Something that's more efficient
for
and like
instance,
just more convenient
for instance
or
though,
as convenient.
my laptop does not have
Hmm.
USB Type C. It's gonna die in the next year or two. It's
All right, yeah, but you're way behind
no,
on the
I'm just
times
saying
there.
it's
That's the
it's
thing.
out of its range. It's on its last
Hmm.
legs. But as of right now, it does have Bluetooth, but it also has an audio out. It also has an inline audio. It has an optical out port too. It's complicated. It has FireWire. It has USB. It has a lot of stuff, despite it being like 8 years old.
Yeah.
And so the audio experience I get as of right now by plugging in my 3.5 auxiliary cable into my speakers is fine. I do not need a new standard in the same way that Apple didn't have to introduce a new standard. And I don't
No,
think
but that's the nature of technology, though. We have to, things just have to evolve, and they're always trying to push it and introduce new standards. Like,
But I don't like the new standards are fine. I think, USB Type C hasn't really taken off yet. It's only on certain devices. It's still a somewhat high end thing. And it's going to have to because, like I said, you can flip it either way. It is faster. There's lots of things. Like, it took forever for people to go from USB 1.0 to 2.0, and people still haven't even really adopted 3.0. And Type C is a better version of 3.0. So eventually, yeah, we're gonna have to go there because speed is what matters. Size matters too. But
well, then it's just I think with the headphone jack, I don't know if you can get even uncompressed audio. It's all inevitably going to go there, though,
no, you
regardless of whether
can
you need it or
you can
not. I
listen to
think.
FLAC over a regular audio jack. It depends on the drivers in your headphones how good it sounds. Like if it
Hmm.
actually resonates with the same frequencies that were recorded
Yeah.
losslessly. But there's nothing wrong with headphones. Like there's never been anything wrong with them. Matter of fact, the audio jack doesn't take battery life. Not really. Most headphones don't require an outside power source. You can use them regardless. You can use them on just about anything: a radio, an MP3 player, your car. Matter of fact, like imagine you have a car you bought it like 2 years ago. It has auxiliary port or even better Bluetooth, and in the next couple of years, that's going to be obsolete just because, like in your ways, we have to push it forward. Like I think it's just a way for us to have to make it feel like we have to buy something by the industry lessening the life cycle of something that's already historically proven to be effective, not just in terms of
That is
cost.
true. I mean, like, yeah, usually it's just there needs to be a reason for this to
And there
exist
isn't a reason.
specifically.
Like you
Like
can,
right now, we got wireless headphones. That's good
it's good
enough,
enough. Like,
like
but
for a lot of
on
people.
top of that, you can get a pair of earbuds for $5 that are good, like with the inline like
Yeah,
microphone and stuff, with like audio controls, like 5 6
yeah,
bucks,
absolutely.
no problem. In like 2 or 3 years, those aren't going to exist, and you're going to have to buy these USB ones. And because they're USB branded and certified, they're going to have to probably cost like 20 instead. Like it's going to take a long time for there to be the bottom barrel discount bin one,
Hmm.
just because it's a new technology, which is a really shady just business practice. I don't think people should be punishing those people out there that don't have either the resources or the desire, or most importantly, the need to quote unquote upgrade. Because using the what the fuck do they call them, the ear pods, the new wireless Apple earbuds, those don't seem like they're any better than the shitty $20 ones I got from Amazon. Matter of
Well,
fact,
honestly, having these available, like, and having the thing segue just to make it smoother,
uh-huh.
that's one thing. Like, I would hope, like, Apple, of course, they fucking took it away right away. But I would hope that at least with whatever other manufacturers, they can make the transition easier and at least have both available as an option while starting out and take their time till they slowly kill it.
Maybe.
Like I mean, Apple fucking they took away the disk drive what like 4 years ago, and people are still using it now. So I got a Windows 10. It's pretty recent, you know, so like I that option is still there for me when I need it. I would hope that it's the same case.
I would love it if they made an iPad that had a disk drive. Just because.
I I don't know if you need it. I
No,
mean, mine is
you
my
definitely don't
tablet's
need
also
it.
thin. Yeah.
But given that
Uh,
Apple devices don't allow up like user-based storage or any
so,
kind of improvements of that nature, it would
hmm
be a nice way for you to be able to watch a movie without taking up so much space on your hard drive or flash-based memory. If you could actually put a Blu-ray into your iPad and watch it on a
I'd
plane,
rather have a USB drive, honestly, into
it,
my iPad if I could do
that'd be
that.
nice too. My shitty
Yeah.
tablet that I got for $80 on Amazon has HDMI out, a USB
Really?
drive. It has a headphone jack. It came with a free like keyboard which doubles as a kickstand and as like a cover, and it was $80. Like it has Android. It's not great. It's not fast. It's not too bright or anything, but it has more than I wanted at a really great price. And it's perfect for what I use it for, which is, reading comics and reading like internet stuff. I didn't need an iPad, so I didn't buy one. It doesn't have a thumbprint jack on it. It doesn't have a Retina display or any shit like that. Like, it is what it is. It's a bigger screen, so I don't have to use my cell phone all the time. And it is
Mm-hmm.
perfect for that. But this thing does not need a disk drive. The battery life would suck on it. But I would just love to see that as a possibility, just because. Like, I could get a USB powered disk drive and use it on there. And I should do that. Just like imagine like a USB powered VCR, and plug that into your computer. Like just because. Just why not? Why not?
I mean, you can if you get the right converter cables and all those extensions, you could do it.
It'd be fun. It'd be fun.
It's possible.
I'm interested. But here's some.
I'm pretty sure that's how you do VHS rips anyway.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
You can get like a special VHS recorder or like reader, or you can
Well,
do a
I've done it
VCR
through
directly into it.
I've done it through like it's kind of tricky how I've done it, but I've had it up converted through an HDMI converter so that it outputs to 1080p, and then I capture it that way.
I mean, I have a DVD VCR combo in my room, and so if
hmm
I wanted to, if I bought some blank VHSs, I could, rip
You
DVDs.
could get the RCA cables and like yeah, it would be DVD quality.
No, I'm
But
saying like I could rip DVDs on a VHS if I wanted to, which could
yeah,
be like a funny thing for the hipsters out there. Like if I even recorded like the special features, or maybe like did like a double tape package where tape one is the movie plus special features, and tape two is the movie with the director's commentary.
you could do it. I mean, I don't know. For me personally, like there's just something cool about preserving a different type of media and like making it accessible in a different format. Like, but I mean, yeah, like I guess that totally is a hipster thing.
I don't even know where I could find blank VHS tapes. To be honest, like I'm sure on Amazon
Oh
or
God,
eBay,
no!
but
Like,
like in a store, where would I go?
I don't know. Why would you do the reverse of that of like taking a Blu-ray and putting it on a VHS or something?
That would
like
sell.
a blank one. That
It
no,
would
that's
sell.
that's way too hipster, I guess. The other way makes more
I
sense to me.
guarantee if I was like at a swap meet and I advertised it that way, I was like, oh, these are DVD rips on VHS that they would sell for like, especially if I did for like $5 or $10, I would have a
It's
market.
not a filter thrown in through Adobe. This is the
It's
real
the real thing. This
VHS
is the
look.
real
Yeah.
shitty look, guys. You got to rewind it when you're done. Ah, so sad. Yeah, fuck VHS, fuck DVD. We're in the future. We're talking about VR here. I've been upset before. I was talking about like, oh, Suicide Squad is only on Gear VR. This thing is only on Oculus. HTC only gets this. Just to prove that I'm not biased because I'm a PlayStation fanboy. News about PSVR exclusivity has come out this week. Resident Evil 7 is going to be PSVR exclusive for an entire year, so all the way until about January 2017. And Batman Arkham VR is going to be until next March. So these are the first two we know so far
Okay.
that are being advertised as PSVR exclusives. So I think that's fair. I mean, you pay for that kind of marketing when you
Wait,
set it up
aren't
as
the
exclusive.
Aren't the Resident Evil games all Sony though, or
No,
are those on
no.
Xbox as
No,
well?
yeah, those are just Capcom
Okay.
games. They're everywhere now. You can get Resident
All right, never
Evil.
mind. Then that is shitty. I guess.
You can get it on Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox. I don't think so. I mean, in terms of just the VR, these are VR exclusive. You can still get Resident Evil 7 on Xbox. Okay, on PC I would assume too. But
But I guess then again, PSVR is the only one that has the tech that
Exactly.
makes it easy to do
Like
that.
they
Yeah.
are marketing it, well, not marketing, but they are selling it a certain way. If you are a gamer and you want a console gamer and you want VR, you're going PSVR because why would you
Hmm.
go somewhere else? And yes, Resident Evil has an historic relationship with PlayStation since like 1996, so it is a fair exclusivity window. But then more so than that, it just PlayStation or Sony rather, and Sony, mind you, makes the Resident Evil movies. They had to have paid Capcom money for this exclusivity. In the same way that Microsoft paid Square Enix money to keep Rise of the Tomb Raider for a whole year. So I don't think this is weird. It's less so
Hmm.
when I was talking about like Oculus, and I was like, why is this a thing? Why can it only be on Oculus and not HTC? Because they're not an established brand. Like the fact that if you want VR right now, you have a couple of options, and there isn't a setup market, there isn't a historic bias, there isn't anything like that. Whereas with this one, I'm okay. Like the Arkham games,
Hmm.
the, people do play them on PC, but they've been either PlayStation or Xbox. Well, if I want to do the VR game, I can't do it on Xbox. Why isn't it just on PlayStation? And so these are going to be coming eventually to the Vive and the Rift and whatever other VR headsets are out there a year from now, over a year from now, actually. And I think it's okay. I mean, if more of these happen, if there's more exclusivities, it, more exclusives could be a bad thing. But as of right now, because these are launch games, these are games that are going to
Yeah.
help sell the tech at the beginning and get people to buy units, that you kind of need these because neither Oculus or the HTC Vive have a killer app. Like the closest they have is fucking Google's Tilt Brush VR, which they actually showed off some multiplayer, quote unquote, cooperative gameplay. So Tilt Brush as of right now is a VR like 3D art gallery. You can, or not gallery, but like tool, so you can make art in real time all around you with
Hmm.
the HTC Vive controllers and soon Oculus, and I'm have to assume it's going to be coming to PlayStation VR too. But Google has their press conference in a couple of days, so we'll be talking about this next week. But this is already proof that they're already working on ways to make this cooperative. It's no longer VRs for one person. There's social things out there that are being worked on too. So I really hope that this is going to be well at launch on PSVR because Tilt Brush, what I've seen of it, and if you have Google Cardboard, you can look at experiences. You can either just browse them, like the finished product, or you can watch like a time lapse of how it was created too. Really cool. The Tilt Brush app. I forget what it's called. If you're in Google Play or the Apple Store, just go on there, type in Tilt Brush. It'll pop up. There's also like Orbulus, which is kind of similar, but very very cool. This is way less cool than just like proof that VR is here to stay. Six Flags earlier this year implemented VR on the roller coasters. SeaWorld Orlando is going to be doing the same thing. They're putting VR on this roller coaster called the Kraken in Orlando. Sounds scary. I don't want to do it. But it's proof. Like if they're already using VR at theme parks, and lots of people go to theme parks to do something that they can't do at home, if you do any experience and you like it, you're more likely to want to buy it in the future. And I still haven't yet. I've yet to meet someone who's done one of the VR roller coasters, and I want to try it out, or at least get an interview with someone or something like that, because it seems like a perfect fit and also like a perfect disaster too.
I don't how disaster how so like I imagine it like one of those simulators that you walk in, just probably more immersive in that
It
sense.
seems like nausea to me. Like part of
Have you ever been in one of those old simulators where it's like you get in that little
yeah, where you're like sitting in the car and
yeah,
it's like going up and down and flipping
and
over and
you're just
stuff.
staring at one screen
Yeah,
and it's just kind of shaking throughout. Yeah.
yeah, but like when I'm on a roller coaster, I like looking ahead at where the track is going, maybe at the people around me, at the scenery, and
For
like,
me, I guess also the appeal in theme parks is like I could see like a VR roller coaster
mhm.
being somewhat appealing, but the real thing is always going to be the go-to option for me
That's well, I mean,
because it's really the thrill of something that's like real and in front of you, and just getting that wind blowing in your face and like actually being there. That's part of the thrill of a theme park for me.
as of right now, I believe Six Flags Magic Mountain in Valencia only has one VR coaster, and it's the Revolution VR or VR Revolution. However, maybe it's like Viva Revolution, whatever the fuck it's called. And it was just like, oh, they redid Revolution, made it better, and then you put on a Galaxy Gear VR, and you wear this thing where it looks like you're like a fighter pilot or you're chasing aliens, or I don't know exactly. And it's supposed to work because you get the same G-force as you would the simulated G-force from the experience, except it's real because you're on the coaster. But at the same time, I don't know. Given the couple of bad experiences I've had with VR motion sickness, or just it's called VR sickness, period. I want to see what that's like. Right now, VR, you have to have crazy bandwidth to watch this stuff. It's better off just downloading the experiences. That's what I've done, or having a physical disc in the case of like PSVR or something like that. And with that in mind, I think that this is where YouTube Go is going. This is something that Google announced earlier this week. It's an offline social-centric version of YouTube, and it's launching in India first. It's targeted at their market and like developing countries where they're mobile first. And basically the way it's been pitched is that, instead of having to use your data, you can be on Wi-Fi, download the video, it signifies the size and the quality, and then also you can cast it to your friends around you so they can also experience the thing. It's like a more social version of YouTube. But like I said, I think that this is secretly going to be like a hidden trick of VR on Android. Because you can download YouTube videos if you have YouTube Red, but I think that this is available to everyone. It's probably going to come stateside sometime soon. So instead of trying to eat up all your bandwidth or you making your phone blow up because it's really hard to stream 3D, 360, and actual VR content, that this is a really easy way for you to get VR on your phone without you worrying about anything like your battery dying. But no one really knows, and it's going to be in India first, like I said. So hopefully they announce something about this in a week. Or maybe even better yet, there's just like a YouTube VR. They launch a brand new app where everything is VR. That way you don't have to scroll through all the shit to find exactly what you look for.
That already exists.
Sorta. I mean...
I have one that's just called YouTube VR 3D. I don't know how legit
yeah,
it
I don't...
is.
I think I downloaded it before. I don't think it's good. Because just like the...
Then again, I have a ton of useless apps here that don't work because I don't have gyroscope.
Yeah, good job with that. You should get a new phone. New phone.
Yeah, no, I have to be very cheap, and I'm living on a budget.
Make it out of a
I almost
shoebox.
got a free iPhone 7.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, no, I almost got a free one.
You almost got a 2-year contract with a carrot on a stick.
Yeah, but it would have been the phone. The phone would have been free. So
I mean, the phone's always kind of free anyway, to be honest. Like compared to what you pay, like even if you have a cheap data plan, you're still paying about $100 a month.
Yeah.
So $2,400. The phone is basically free.
No, I'm going with the cheaper option. I'm on a budget.
Yeah, I'm on a budget too.
I'm living on my own.
I'm living not on my own, but I'm living in debt, so it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, I guess. We all have our own problems,
The final piece of VR news, though, and this one's actually exciting because as of right now, if you have an iPhone, the only VR, or better yet, if you have a Mac, if you have any Apple product, the only VR experiences you can do are on Google Cardboard. Apple's too stupid to release their own. People like HTC and Oculus aren't supporting Apple computers because they don't have the tech specs required for a seamless experience. And so you're kind of in the dark unless you have this piece of cardboard. But there's a company out there that's trying to change that. Their name is Occipital, and they're working on room-scale VR attachment for mobile devices, most notably, as I've been pointing out, for Apple. So I read something on Engadget, or maybe it was Ars Technica. Ars Technica, yeah. That's hard to pronounce, now that I'm thinking about it.
How's it spelled?
It's like Techane. I don't know.
I'm not even gonna try.
Just Ars Tech, okay? We'll call them Ars Tech. But yeah, so this is actually pretty cool. What you do is you begin by using your phone to 3D map your environment, kind of like Tango, and then you put on this head-mounted display, which is custom. You, I believe, use your phone as the display, as like Cardboard does, but it has like special sensors and shit and all these things. And what it does is when you're in a VR experience, Like I said, you can move around, but anytime you're about to collide with something such as a wall or a chair, the real world blends into your experience, so you know. It's something like what HEC does with their Chaperone app, or not app, but like feature. And I don't know what the price point on this is. It's only a developer kit as of right now, but in the experience, not the experience, but the preview that I read, it seemed like it's really great. It's using like the same kind of one-to-one tracking that Intel was showing off a couple of months ago. And so this could be hopefully where Daydream is going. Like I said, we're going to know that in just a couple of days now. But very exciting, especially for Apple users. If you haven't used any kind of VR yet and you want to, that might be a name to keep track of. Occipital, or better yet, maybe like 2 years from now, Apple will release their own Google Cardboard. Call it Apple VR, and it'll be a piece of shit. Who knows?
Or IVR. I don't fucking know.
I hope not. I hope it's just.
I really don't care anymore about Apple.
I hope it's called Apple VR, and I hope it sucks, just because. Like, the worst part about that, too, is that unless PSVR really, really takes off, people are going to think that Apple created virtual reality. Undoubtedly.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It depends on how long they are out of the game, really. Like,
Yeah.
are they even doing anything?
No, they're totally
really?
doing. They're poaching lots of people in VR and the AR industries. So they've built up quite a lot of personnel. They're clearly working on something, whether that's an actual headset, which it should be, since they have a streamlined interface. Oh, here's our watch, here's our phone, here's her tablet, our computer, all of our shit. Here's our soon-to-be car, our payment system. Since they have so many things just like that, they almost undoubtedly are either working on AR or VR. Matter of fact, the Apple iPhone 7 Plus's secondary camera is kind of proof that they're going to be using AR in the near future, maybe even just in a couple of months. But fuck them, fuck VR. Here's some film stuff. We never talk about it. Last week, matter of fact, me and Greg didn't talk about film at all. We did like
I imagine.
all VR, which was different. The first one here is actually
I don't think that guy watches many movies.
no,
Honestly.
yeah, we were talking. He's like, yeah, I'm like totally out of the TV and movie thing. He's busy doing VR and
He's
and
a
his
very
music
tech
stuff.
savvy guy.
He is, but like, he was telling me that he's like really never done VR outside of work.
Yeah, well, how do you really like? I guess I can see that. Like, it would be such a burnout thing.
Uh-huh.
Like after a while.
I don't know. I have to like remind him soon, but he was like, yeah, maybe I'm bringing you down to the warehouse and you can try out some of our stuff. I was like, yes, please, because they have like a HoloLens and HTC Vive, but they probably have like Oculus. They probably have all the shit. He's like, yeah,
Where is he based in LA or Long Beach? Or...
he's in the LA area.
Okay.
I don't know exactly. I don't want to reveal too much. He's on the show, so he can't protect himself right now. So our couple listeners out there, don't hunt him down. Don't track him down. But yeah, film. This is actually TV, but it's really big. It could have been a headline, but it's not that exciting. But Frank Darabont is seeking $280 million from AMC currently for the profits he's missed since being axed from the basic cabler season 2 of The Walking Dead. If you guys don't know, he helped create the show. Season 1 was basically...
Well, he was the showrunner.
Yeah, he was
at
the
first
showrunner.
start, yeah.
He directed the pilot. It was all him. It was like his money. Like, I think he had like a 10% stake in all of the profits for that first season, and his name was on it. It was like heavily marketed as Frank Darabont's The Walking Dead, or like
Yeah.
from the visionary Frank Darabont, or however the hell they did it. This is like 7 years ago now, or something like that, 6 years ago. But yeah, he's seeking $280 million. And like I said, based off the 10% profits. That means that he's speculating that they've made about $3 billion off The Walking Dead, which I think is very doable considering the kind of merchandising they do, the Universal Studios, like mazes, all the shit that they do, and just the video games, just everything. Everyone's aware of The Walking Dead now, and it's, a successful comic book too. I hope he gets it, because I still don't know. I don't think anyone knows besides him why he was fired. It happened all of a sudden.
No, I honestly, and how many showrunners has that show had
Like
since then? 'Cause
3,
I think the one
2?
for the second season they got fired as well.
Yeah.
So much fucking drama and so many mixed things based on that show. The people that hate it fucking hate it. The
Me.
people that love it really love it. I don't fucking care.
I really
honestly.
don't care. I think it's really boring, super dramatic television with like
Yeah,
a
no, like
zombie angle.
I thought the pilot was good, but it didn't draw me in. I saw a few episodes after that. It really didn't pull me in.
It's just people talking, and then people die too. But it's mostly people talking. It's like It's just as boring as Game of Thrones, except their budget is like a fraction the size, so they can't afford.
And also, Game of Thrones is more fun. Like, has much more fun dialogue.
Yeah, they have tits
too.
too,
So
and dick,
yeah,
tits
that
and dick,
too. Yeah.
and Aquaman.
Political intrigue. Yeah. Yeah. For one season.
Fuck it, that's enough. Aquaman,
Plus some cameos, I guess.
Aquaman. I hope he comes back as a White Walker.
We don't know if he's that good yet.
Oh well,
Just
no, he can't
take
come
it
back
easy.
because she burned his body. Spoilers for like
Cameo,
7
who
years
knows?
ago. It'd be cool to see
He
him as a
can
White
come
Walker.
back for whatever reason.
Just make him a White Walker. Why not? Bring him back. The Priestess of Fire, bring him back. Someone bring him back. I'd love to see Khal Drogo make a reappearance. Just because.
He's been back in like what, fantasy sequences or dream sequences or shit.
Like maybe one.
Yeah, there's one I remember for sure, but he could come back in that capacity.
Maybe like a flashback. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, Warner Brothers, if they were smart, as a way to like market Aquaman, or better yet, even just Justice League, which just wrapped in London like 2 days ago or something. It would be smart if they put him back on the show. Better yet, just put Ben Affleck on one episode. Bring them all. Bring Gal Gadot. Bring all of the Justice League onto like
It is Time Warner.
yeah,
so.
just one episode of
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, just so like people that watch Game of Thrones are like, oh shit, that's the Justice League. I'm gonna go see that movie now. Or like a trailer, like attached trailers. I don't. Maybe in
It's like, yeah, bring in a parallel timeline.
Yeah,
hey, those things exist in the DC
yeah,
universe.
maybe better yet, like in Justice League,
Yeah.
they're watching Game of Thrones. Like the Flash is watching it, like, oh, this show's amazing. That's my best Ezra Miller.
And then Aquaman's in the room while it's happening. It just kind of gives him that look, like, huh.
Want me to blow your mind? Ezra Miller turned 24 2 days ago.
Okay, and
I didn't know he was younger than us.
I think I might have known that. I don't know.
I had no clue. It's kind of scary.
Not really.
A little bit.
I
He's the
mean-
Flash now. Grant Gustin's
Okay.
older than us. Like most superhero, well, the new Spider-Man's younger.
I try not to obsess over age. If I did, then I would find myself being quite depressed.
We're not like obsessed over it. It's just like it's when you find out like
just gotta work.
someone's a certain age, you're like, oh, or maybe it's just me. I'm like, oh, huh. Like you ever worked with someone like a coworker, whether they're above you or below you on the totem pole, it doesn't matter, and you just find out someday, and it's kind of just like an epiphany almost, or like it slaps you across the face. You're like, what? Like it's confusing. That's how it was with Ezra Miller. I was like, really? Like, because I never had a reason to look up his age or anything.
Not so much for me. I mean, like maybe for like a split second, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's like,
No,
oh,
yeah, it's not something.
all right, well, I guess that's fine.
Yeah, I don't sweat over it for days or anything. But yeah, for like a quick like 5 minutes or something, you're like, huh.
Well, you describe it as kind of scary or kind of sad. I'm just like,
For Ezra Miller, I think so, just because. Because he doesn't seem. I mean, 24 is not young, but he doesn't. I didn't picture him younger than me for some reason. Because I think it's because I've been aware of him for so many years now that I thought that, like, okay, for instance, like when I saw Perks of Being a Wallflower, I thought he was older than I was.
oh my god, yeah, that was a long time ago. Too.
Yeah, I thought he was older than I was at the time when I saw that. Turns out he wasn't. And it's like, oh, huh. And he really wasn't older than I, because he was probably like a year younger than he actually was when I saw it, because of the way filming works. I was like,
Yeah,
oh.
I mean that movie probably hit like the festival circuit for like, I don't know, 6 or 7 months or something before it even came out.
Not that one. I don't think so, because that was an MTV movie.
Was it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was MTV Films, and the reason was that MTV published the original book. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, pretty interesting. More actual news stuff, though. Alexander Desplat, who notably left Rogue One about 2 weeks ago, last week started working on Valerian. So he left the Disney Star Wars movie to work on Luc Besson's really out there space opera. That's kind of the same category, like, and I don't think he was already.
Not so much. I mean, even though Star Wars is a space opera, Rogue One does not really appear to be that way at all.
It's kind of funny that he's staying basically in the same genre, and as far as I know, based on my research, it's not like he had Valerian set up and it was like the natural thing next. I think he literally jumped ship. Like, he just went to the other film, and it's like
Does he just not have good relations with Gareth Edwards?
I don't know. Like, the question here,
because they have worked together.
Disney has already been like kind of lessening the box office expectations for Rogue One. Among like they're just like, oh, it's gonna make less than Episode 7.
Naturally,
It's
yeah.
gonna do.
I think investors are like worried,
Uh-huh.
and it's like, well, of course it's gonna make fucking less.
But
Like,
no, but it's
even
like,
off air though, I did talk to you about
uh-huh.
this. Like, even people seem really confused by what it is.
And I guess the composers do too, because I know how much you like Michael Giacchino, but
Hmm.
he's coming on pretty damn late. He has like 2 months to finish everything, not just write it,
Yeah,
but
but
conduct and
honestly,
everything.
honestly, the optimist in me wants to say like he can still turn in something great. James Horner, when he was brought in to work on Aliens, he had 6 weeks to do the score.
That's about how much time
The moment
Giacchino
he was
has.
brought on to the final product, and like, yeah, that score is iconic now. Like, it's one of the great scores for sci-fi action films. Like, so I mean, yeah, working under pressure sucks, but like I still think Michael Giacchino's talented enough
I mean,
that
it seems like it's gonna
he can turn
be
in something
real
great.
fucking easy because Rogue One, has Darth Vader in it. So the Imperial March can be used. The Darth Vader theme can be used. Like,
Hmm.
you already have so much that John Williams has composed at your repertoire that it doesn't have to be 100% original. So
Then again, I am curious about the tone of the movie too, because yeah, Giacchino has done like a very just the scores for the Trek films. That is a space opera. It has that awe and wonder there. I just don't get that
are you
sense
talking about
from Rogue One. It feels like it's being far more gritty
you
and
talking about that movie that was scored by the Beastie Boys?
what?
I sabotage your
Are
thinking.
you making? Yeah, you're making a joke
Yeah,
there.
good song choice.
Both of them, yes, yeah.
Good job, JJ and Co. But yeah,
And Justin Lin,
I don't know if
you
this.
got to watch that movie too.
Oh, I will. I'll watch it when it hits cable. But
That's a long way away.
not really. It's gonna be
Cable?
like 6 months,
All right.
like 7 months tops. Um, but like, was this a veteran move for Desplat? Like, he just won an Oscar. Like, is he trying to go to something? Does he know something that we don't know? Because the composer gets to see the dailies. They
Uh-huh.
have to know the visual tone so they can express autistic, not autistic.
Artistic.
Just like they can express a sonic tone.
Yeah.
And he must have seen something. It's pretty uncommon for someone of his caliber to just leave a movie like this, especially a pretty big franchise.
I don't want to feed into like, just fanboy rage temptation that easy because like yeah, I've been pretty negative on Rogue One almost from the start, honestly, and I want to like the movie. But like yeah, people are like predicting its doom in very ridiculous ways. Maybe when all is said and done, we could see it and then see that this is a disaster, and then turn to stories like this and be like, oh well, of course he saw that it
I
fucking
mean, we're gonna have
sucked. I don't
we're
know.
gonna have a review for it, considering that we've reviewed 8 Star Wars movies basically.
You might. I mean, I don't know if you might have to get a guess for that one because I really am just not. I don't give a shit about it. It's not even like I want to hate watch it or anything. I'm just kind of like, I see it. I'm just like, I don't care.
I'm just curious.
I
I want to see, because this is really, really the first Disney Star Wars movie.
the Clone Wars animated film got me more excited than Rogue One has right now. Honestly,
It's
like
embarrassing.
it really is. Yeah, like I'm really not feeling it. Like maybe there might be one more trailer coming out.
I won't see it.
I have no idea how. Like it could turn me around for all I know.
It's
but
like I said off air. I was sold with the concept, the Death Star plans, and having like
Yeah,
an
but now it's like I'm
intercool.
realizing now, like it sounds more like a cool piece of fan fiction than. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's appealing to everybody else, and that's not at all a reason to sell it to
I
me.
kinda-
Like I like the idea of it,
I
but
like that concept though, the fact that, every other year you have the main installment, and then the years in between you have the more fan tilted stuff that's not for everyone.
and you can be more creative and do like interesting things. Like yeah, there are images in that trailer where it's kind of nice to see a stormtrooper walking on the ground, and you have that like shaky cinema verite style, like capturing that shot as if it's an actual war zone. Like there is just something about seeing a little thing like that that makes it very unique, and it's not very Star Wars in that sense. But yeah, I don't know. I think it might just be a Gareth Edwards thing for me. Like I really was let down by Godzilla, and I think
Most people were.
based on what I'm seeing here and his two movies, it's like, okay, I see what his style is now. I see that his movies might not be for me.
Well, talking about franchises and bigger worlds, this is cool. This is actually from last week that didn't make the show. But ahead of the Dark Tower's release, Akiva Goldsman has announced that there's going to be a TV spin-off based on the fourth book in the series. And the kicker here is that Idris Elba is going to portray the same character across both mediums. And so this has led a lot of people to speculate, and me included, is this the beginning of a shared Stephen King universe? Is that going to actually finally fucking happen? Considering all of his works are part of the same universe. It's not like it's unheard of. Look at the Marvel movies, look at the US universe. Like, there's countless examples across movies and TV now that this should have always been a thing, and it's probably going to be a thing. Because the Dark Tower, what I know about it, is entirely indebted to the rest of Stephen King's bibliography. That there's countless references to other characters and stories. And so if it wasn't all set together, it would probably lose a lot of its appeal. Because it's like, it's supposed to be his best stories and also the culmination of all of them.
Well, the shared universe is a trend right now. There's no reason for it not to be.
I hope. I mean, people are still stupid, man. Like, one of the other news stories that's not even on the show anymore, but I guess it is now. IDW is publishing like a Hasbro mashup series where it's like Transformers meets G.I. Joe meets Micronauts meets all of the shit. And the cool article that I read about it at THR, it was like an interview, said that the guys that are writing the comic actually got to go to Hasbro and get the go-ahead. And they also showed them like their blueprint for their Allsparks Pictures shared universe. And so they're probably not going to be the same, but they got to look inside and peer into the future. And so they probably might have had some influences there. But, yeah, it better be a shared universe. Especially if you're able to get someone like Idris Elba, who just won 2 Golden Globes. Like, if you can get him to do the TV show right after the movie comes out, you'd be stupid to not get other things. Like, for instance, I know Pennywise the Clown, the character that he actually is, who I can't remember, who's like supposed to be like a big spider or whatever, is like a big character in the Dark Tower series. If there isn't, I don't know if it's the same studio, I don't fucking care, but if there isn't some kind of tie or Easter egg between the It remake and this Dark Tower movie, it'd be a total letdown. Like, it'd be pretty fucking stupid. But that's kind of Hollywood, to be honest. Shared universes, movies to TV, even better. Taika Waititi, Jermaine Clement, What We Do in the Shadows, it's getting TV spinoff. Right now, it's going to be only in New Zealand. There hasn't been an international release announced yet, but it's going to be called Paranormal Event Response Unit. It's a half-hour procedural that's going to follow 2 human cops in New Zealand across 6 episodes, and it's going to be like them. I don't know exactly, but it's not going to be following the vampires and werewolves. But I'm sure that they're going to be making cameos and such.
Yeah.
This sounds like a perfect fit for Netflix. Like, I really hope that, because like it was something like Top of the Lake, which is on there. It better be. And
if not, I mean, you know, there's enough fans of this show.
Someone will put it on the internet.
That movie that there will, it'll be easily accessible.
Oh yeah, but I hope it's the same tone. I don't know if it's going to be a mockumentary, but they got like $1 million from New Zealand.
I mean, I imagine there'd be like a Cops sort of style to it, probably.
I mean, they did that a little bit, if I remember correctly, in that movie. So, because it's the same 2 cops from the film. It's like Karen and Alex or whatever. Like the stupid. They're not stupid, but
they may have appeared, but there wasn't like a Cops feel to. I mean, What We Do in the Shadows is more like Man Bites Dog, just with vampires, if anything.
Yeah, I've heard that so many times. I still have to see that. Because I've seen the. Who directed it? I saw the Marvel short where it's like Venom and it's supposed to be like a 100% Man Bites Dog ripoff, and I really like that. So because it's the one where it's about a reporter, right, or like a news. What is it? A journalist?
Man Bites Dog.
Is it a journalist? A documentarian?
It's basically a documentary where these guys follow a serial killer and just how he. He does murders on the spot. It's really messed up, and even to the point where the filmmakers get involved in it.
So I should watch it this month, or is it not a Halloween thing?
I don't think it's a Halloween thing. It's definitely weirdly funny, but also very, very disturbing in places. I wouldn't call it a Halloween flick, though.
I'll write it down. Just so I can have the final word, and I like to have the last word about this movie. Kenneth Branagh's Murder on the Orient Express just added a whole bunch of fucking people. Michelle Pfeiffer, Daisy Ridley, Judi Dench, Johnny Depp, Michael Pena, and of course Kenneth Branagh is going to be playing, directing and starring as Poirot. That kind of just proved that this is the first big one that's coming out. The first adaptation, the first Agatha Christie movie of this new wave. If you get that many people on board, it can't be bad.
Well, the second you get Kenneth Branagh in, you're naturally going to get good actors on there.
But this are like Daisy Ridley's not in anything besides Star Wars right now.
No, like her career is still growing at this point.
So I mean, Johnny Depp, he needs a hit, but like Michael Pena, who's on top of the world, especially in the Marvel circles, like when I read this a couple of days ago, I went, okay, this went from I really want to see this to I need to see this, and I need to get like a midnight ticket. Because I saw I think it's like 1974, I saw the film adaptation.
I've never seen that one, yeah.
And I'm
guessing it's okay.
It's an okay movie.
Yeah.
But the mystery itself, like the story is really good. So I really want to see where this goes with this kind of talent, because it's a really interesting spin on like I don't want to say anything about it. It's Murder on the Orient Express. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah.
It's a murder mystery kind of. But
if
it does do well, it could potentially set up a whole Poirot series, and that's exciting because he's a cool character. Like he is monkish in a way. But that's a show. Steve's tired. I'm pretty tired too.
Very tired.
So I said at the top where they can reach me. Where can they reach you, Steve?
I'm on Twitter at S_MTX. My Letterboxd account is at the same name if you want to see my film diary. You can also email me at steve@dollarreviews.net. Hey, we do take requests for Death to Cinema if you want us to review something there. It's not just our picks, we can always balance it back and forth like that.
Yeah, we had, sort of. I mean, the first example of that is Tyler being on RoboCop 3.
Yeah.
As we did
speaking
RoboCop.
of picks, next week, it's Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Yeah, I like that. It kind of bounces off Toxic Avenger.
Yeah.
So we're just going to do...
May as well continue the bad,
shitty,
so bad it's good train. Yeah.
Shitty movies that are very B-budget.
Yep.
But yeah, I said it at the beginning, kind of. Facebook, Twitter, WordPress, Tumblr. We're at Dollar Reviews on all those things. If you want to listen to us streaming, Google Play Music, iTunes, Pocket Cast, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, SoundCloud on occasion, maybe even Spotify if they get purchased. So pay attention, listen to the news, and if you don't, we will for you. Have a good one. Catch you next week.
See you then.